Alright, what is going on guys, it's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. Now today I've got for you guys is another Legends of Tomorrow video. Now if you guys have not seen the most recent episode of Legends and are not caught up with this season, spoiler warning, but if you are, let's continue. Within the most recent episode, or the mid-season premiere for Season 3 of Legends, we finally got our long-awaited Constantine-centered episode, and it definitely did not disappoint. Now, even though this is not a review, I do just want to start off by saying that this Constantine episode was really great, and I really enjoyed Constantine within the episode, and the use of him throughout the episode was just great, and it definitely felt like a combination of a Legends and Constantine episode, and kind of like a proper crossover, even though the Constantine show is no longer on, but who knows, maybe after sort of seeing Constantine's popularity from this episode of Legends, maybe they'll bring it back, but even if they don't, at least we have that animated Constantine series to look forward to on the CW Seed at some point later on. But anyway, within the episode, we learn that Malice actually possessed Damien Darhk's daughter, and this is sort of the whole reason why all of this crazy magic Malice stuff and Damien Darhk stuff is kind of going on this season on Legends, is because of this stuff that kind of happened in the past that kind of slipped under the radar is sort of what pushed forward to become, you know, what the big threat is of the season for Legends. And I definitely thought it was pretty cool for them to kind of show us how the kind of team of Damien Darhk and his daughter with Malice kind of formed by giving us this episode to sort of see, you know, sort of what that sort of process was, sort of what happened, and sort of why she kind of turned to the dark side, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I thought that was definitely pretty cool, and to give us kind of like an origin for that within this episode was pretty nice. But moving on from that, speaking of Malice as well, we kind of got quite a bit of Malice within this episode, and we didn't obviously end up seeing him, which it kind of is unfortunate. And I think there was something that came out before this episode had actually aired that said that we were going to see Malice in this episode, so I don't know whatever happened to that. And supposedly when we do actually fully see him, he's going to be a full CGI villain, so I'm definitely pretty excited to see Malice when you know, he actually appears on the show. But it was kind of disappointing that we weren't actually able to see him within the episode, but definitely his presence was felt because he was obviously, you know, kind of possessing Damien Darhk's daughter throughout the episode, and we definitely got quite a bit more dialogue from Malice and kind of a little bit more of an insight onto maybe what he's planning for the rest of the season. And in addition to maybe learning a little bit about what Malice's plan is for the rest of the season, we did also get sort of some information on what could possibly be the key to actually defeating Malice in the end, and that key would be the Totems. Now, we did see that scene where Zari was going up against Nora Darhk when she was actually possessed by Malice, and when she touched her, there was sort of this like smoke effect, kind of like, you know, kind of like a little steam. I don't know really what happened there, but it seems like anybody that has a totem can sort of fight Malice, so maybe Malice has a weakness to these totems, and it seems like sort of what's going to be happening for the rest of the season is they're going to sort of have to find the rest of the totems and sort of bring them all together, and having all 6 totems together will help the Legends end up defeating Malice in the end, so I definitely think that is going to be pretty cool. So Zari and Amaya, as well as sort of Kuasa and the rest of the people that either have totems or just the rest of the totems in general, will definitely play a big part in the season going forward, given that they are most likely the key to defeating Malice. And it seems like the Legends are going to have to get the rest of those totems together pretty soon, because at the end of the episode, we had Constantine talking to Ray, telling him to make sure that he has his magic dampening nanite gun close at hand, because Sarah will most likely be taken back over by Malice, because while she thinks he's fully gone, you know, Malice is still going to be in there, and he will most likely come back and take control of her at some point later on in the season, so it would definitely be a good idea for the Legends to have all of their totems by that point. So maybe it's not going to be before the finale, but at least by the finale, that's sort of how Malice will most likely make his sort of big return, I guess you could say, is we'll most likely see him as sort of like the CGI villain up until that point, and then maybe sort of through Sarah, that's kind of like maybe the end fight is that the Legends all have to fight Sarah, but controlled by Malice. So, you know, that would actually be pretty cool now that I think about it. But, you know, that's most likely going to be what's happening later on in the season, is that Malice will come back and sort of possess Sarah like Constantine predicted. Now, one of the major questions going into this episode, and one that we obviously did not get the answer to, and, you know, I'm maybe a little bit more confused on now, after this episode, is really who is Malice? Now, I'm literally at a loss here, is because, you know, I always have all these theories. I'm like, oh, I think this and that's going to happen. I think this person's that person. But for Malice here, Malice is different. I don't know why, but I'm kind of stumped here for Malice. I mean, the only kind of theory I have for who Malice could be is kind of just a throwaway one that I'm thinking maybe Gary from the Time Bureau could be Malice, and it's just sort of like, you know, hiding in plain sight. You would never suspect him of being the villain of the season, but oh wait, you know, I've been Malice in disguise the entire time. I feel like that would be actually kind of funny. But it's most likely not going to happen because it would just turn into a meme. It's just like bumbling Gary becomes Malice, you know. I feel like that would be pretty funny if that actually was the case, but is most likely not going to be the case. Like I said before, because it would just kind of turn into a meme. So, you know, that's most likely not going to happen. So, you know, maybe Malice is just Malice and he's nobody that we actually knew. So, you know, Malice could just be this sort of evil magic entity that we don't really know who he is, and we never really will figure out who he is, which is definitely a possibility, but it seems like they've been building it up to maybe Malice is somebody that we know. So who knows, maybe Malice is kind of like a different version of a character that we already know, or just sort of, you know, somebody that we already know, but I just absolutely have no clue who he could be. So let me know your thoughts on who Malice is down in the comments, because like I said, I'm at a loss for this. I have no clue who Malice could be, so yeah, tell me who you think Malice is down in the comments. Now, before I wrap up this video here, I have a couple of little pieces of Legends news that I just wanted to stick in here at the end of the video for you guys. So the first piece of news is something that came out actually a couple of weeks ago, and there were a few different articles that popped up around this topic, and sort of the topic was what makes Wally join the Legends, or sort of why he comes into the show and when he comes into the show. And supposedly Wally will sort of have some sort of a cameo in next week's episode, and Rip will kind of bring him on to the Wave Rider, because, you know, at the end of this episode we heard that Rip had escaped. So Rip brings Wally to the Legends, and Wally's like, you know what, I'm good. I don't want to deal with this. You guys go fight Malice on your own. So that's most likely what's gonna happen in next week's episode. He's gonna sort of leave, but then come back in a few episodes. I think it's episode 13 that he fully joins the team, and he's like, oh, you know what, I'll help you guys out. I'll join you guys. I have nothing else going on. So that's definitely pretty cool to see that we will hopefully be seeing Wally next week, fingers crossed, but he won't unfortunately join the team fully until episode 13. And now the next piece of news is definitely very exciting, and something I saw only today, only really a couple of hours ago before recording this video, is there was a not a poster, there was a picture posted by the actor that plays Nate on Legends, and it was just sort of a picture of him. I'll put it up on screen. It was a picture of him, and sort of he was in, not the caption, that's Instagram, but anyway, sort of what he said to go along with the picture was something along the lines of, you know, I'll put the tweet up on screen, but it was something along the lines of that they are filming the finale for Legends Season 3, and, you know, it just sort of looks like a normal picture. He's just, you know, sitting there kind of bloodied up, most likely was filming a fight scene or whatever. But if you look behind him, you can actually see somebody that we know and love on this show, and that is Constantine. And it's definitely pretty cool to see that Constantine will most likely be making his return to Legends this season in the finale for the season, and I definitely think that is fitting to have Constantine come back and, you know, help with the Malice problem, if you know what I mean. But other than that, guys, I really enjoyed this Constantine episode, and I am definitely very interested to see sort of what happens with Malice going on and going forward within this season of Legends, and I'm definitely excited for the rest of the season of Legends. But other than that, guys, I want to know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. How did you like this Constantine episode? Are you excited to know that Constantine will most likely be back for the finale? And give me your theories on who you think Malice is down in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.